my amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you are connecting from. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you so much, and remember blessed. Whenever you look my video, whenever you watch my video, share the video to all platforms. Share it to family and friends. Share it in your WhatsApp group so that people can get information on what is happening in the contraption called Nigeria, mainly against the Biafrans, against the Duduas, against the indigenous people in the contraption called Nigeria. I try as much as possible to set the record straight. I don't preach hate speech. I don't speak against people. I set the record straight. The only important thing I do here is to make sure that the plight of the people remains on the front burner and the world will know the true story of what is going on in the contraption called Nigeria.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's tell you that since the National Convention of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Professor Wole Soyinka has raised an eyebrow over some of one of the elected members of the National Working Committee of the APC and the issues of the death of the late Chief Bola Ige, a former Minister of Power and the former Attorney General of the Federation. Now, Professor Wole Soyinka has expressed a willingness to be involved in the legal proceedings to unravel the killers of the former Attorney General, Chief Bola Ige. The Nobel laureate had in a statement said the resumption of an investigation into Bola Ige's mother was already hamstrung and disrobed of credibility with the emergence of the prime suspect, according to him, in the case as the National Secretary of the ruling All Progressives Congress. A former Deputy Governor of Osun State, Chief Iyolo Mishore, emerged as the party's National Secretary at a convention. In 2002, he was arraigned for Bola Ige's murder, but later acquitted alongside 10 others tried for the case. Mr. Mishore, who replied to Professor Wole Soyinka's position in a statement, also instructed his lawyer to write the elder statesman demanding a retraction of the comments. Now, the professor is taking the matter up again. Take a listen to Professor Wole Soyinka at the press conference today in Lagos.
The last anniversary of Bola Ige's brother, and just reminded him of his pledge. And I was gratified that the response was instant. He asked the Inspector General of Police to dust up those files, the unsolved cases, and report to the nation. And we're waiting. In the meantime, however, he took a step, not just he, the leadership of the ruling party, the APC, took a very strange and contradictory step. Because if you want an open investigation, you don't include in your team, even if it's in another direction, if it's a position which in some way or the other may reflect on the outcome of the investigation. You don't then choose that time to put that individual, escalate that individual to a position of potential influence. That's all. For me, this is contradictory, and it totally just vitiates the element of sincerity which one would have attributed to the President's decision to reopen the files. That's all.
Well, Professor Wole Soyinka also gave his views on sundry issues. One of the crucial issues is that of the election and who will be the next leader of the country ahead of the 2023 election. Take to listen to Professor Wole Soyinka.
I've just decided that I will take a ringside seat on the coming elections. You see, the situation is so not confused, no, it's quite clear to some extent, but at the same time it's turbid in the sense that, look at the two major parties. There's been such crossing over from one rivulet to another, each crossing having its own purpose, that it's getting very difficult to even distinguish between the two major parties. And, unfortunately, the youth of this nation don't seem to want to take their destiny in their own hands. In other words, if you remember, during the last elections, we encouraged the youth to mobilize, get a consensus candidate, and of course, capable, not just youthful, not youth for youth's sake, but a really effective and potentially effective leader, and present that candidate to us. Well, they failed to do that, and I have a fear that the same thing will happen this year. So very likely, all I'll do is take French leave of the elections and just watch the results.
Laureate equally lent his voice on the security situation in the country.
Then see, this government needs help. It no longer can cope, and not just now. It's been going on for years, and I don't know that really it's just that the citizens of this country should live under such a cloud, such uncertainty. Get up in the morning, you don't know if you get back at night. But of course the problem hasn't just begun. That's what I want everybody to understand. There has been laxity, there's been tolerance of impunity, in fact the encouragement of impunity. There's been the compromise even within the judiciary so that cases are not solved in time and seem to be solved very objectively. There's been, of course, the thieving of money, funds intended for the military to combat insurgency, whether of the religious or the secular kind, known as banditry. So it's a multi-level situation, and it did not begin just now. If we don't keep stressing that, we'll never get to the root of the problem or find effective ways of not only tackling but eradicating the problem. So it's an old sore which has now gone gangrenous.
Then Professor Wole Soyinka, who gave a sad exclusive to Channels Television after the press conference, he addressed himself and Mr. Femi Falana on the issue of the death of the late Attorney General of the Federation, Chief Bola Ige.
Yes, there was an attack on the on a military base in Kaduna State, but what was not reported was the very timely and efficient manner it was repelled, and the huge casualties suffered by the bandits terrorists. I think yesterday a particular television station actually reported this. I also have a video of the area interdiction by the military. You see, I keep saying this is an asymmetrical war in which we are not at liberty always to tell you how in details how the camps of the bandits and terrorists are being decimated daily. It's a war of attrition. But our military is living up to the billing. Our ministry is working day and night to ensure that the terrorists and bandits are neutralized. But unfortunately, there's a lot of second guessing that is going on. And we will continue to give relevant information on the progress we're making in our fight against the terrorism. But we can assure you.
If I support Osinbajo, he deserves to be supported. You know, I've known this, as I said, I've known him since 1989. You know, he was my lawyer. He was a lawyer. He was on the governing board of my company. You know, and in 1999, when Bola Ahmed Tinubu, when I worked for Bola Tinubu to become governor, he asked me, do you know of someone who would be a good attorney general? I want to fight Obasanjo on this issue of federalism. And I said, I have a lawyer who is brilliant, who is smart, who is principled. And he said, go and call him. Myself and Abayo Ononuga. We went to call him. We sat down with him for 1 hour, you know, talking about federalism and what needed to be changed. And he said, well, that's my man. And he made him. And the man, you know, for 8 years, proved himself. You know, and I was happy, and I was vindicated. You know, so and I now have to come and work with him, and I see the way he works, day and night, committed, not asking for things for himself. You know, committed to the people, committed to Nigeria. So for me, and well educated, you know, can stand his own anywhere in the world, comfortable with the young as is with the old, you know, comfortable with new technology, you know, and always coming out with solutions to problems. Mine, I mean, it doesn't cost me anything to align with such a person. What am I looking for in life? I'm looking for a better society. I'm looking for, you know, a society where everybody can realize, you know, themselves. You know, I'm looking for a society where people do not pile all of the resources of a country into their personal accounts. So if I see somebody who has all of those attributes, I have the right to support that kind of person.
Right.
Yeah, so if Osinbajo declares tomorrow that he's running, I will have no apology. I will support him and I will work for him.
Right. 2 follow-up questions to
Yes.
that. One is, I mean, of course, anybody that's an adult and anybody has a constitutional right to run for office, but isn't there a resonance to the claim that this is a form of betrayal because President Buhari was sitting in the room when a consortium of your leaders, Bisi Akonde, Bola Tinubu, said Tinubu conceded this office of vice president to Yemi Osinbajo. And if that is the case, isn't it just a matter of decency to say, okay, if this man could sacrifice for me, maybe one good turn deserves another on a personal level?
Well, I don't see governance in that patronizing way. No, I don't. If you are not capable, if he doesn't have value to add, nobody will have considered anything to him.
Right.
Yeah, and we are talking about Nigeria, for God's sake. It's not a family title. You know, we are not choosing a chief or a king of a community. We are choosing the president of Nigeria. A Nigeria that has challenges of insecurity, you know, that have issues around unemployment. The economy is, you know, needs, you know, a hard push and several other things. And you then look at it and say, look, you know, why we are not saying you are not a good man, we are saying, can we try somebody else, for God's sake, who may have better capacity at solving some of these problems? For me, it's not, you know, when you talk about betrayal, we are patronizing, you know, about that. I mean, if my dad suffers and went several nights not eating, not buying motor cars to train me in his school, and now time comes to appoint a bank manager, and I have, you know, a super degree in economics and management. Now say, since my father has suffered for me, let me go and bring my father to come and be MD of that bank. Does that make sense? It doesn't. You know, we are looking for the person who can do the job, you know. Why we are not saying he's not capable, we are saying that, you know, if put on a scale, one person is better than the other. Yes.
And if President Buhari, who has inquired so far, characteristically,
right,
and who was present at that big, you know, political jamboree, and who was the first person Tinubu informed of his aspiration openly.
Yeah, this last one.
If President Buhari says, okay, Tinubu is who I am supporting, will you fall in line?
Never. Take that from me. Write it down today. I'll go back to the farm. Yeah, that's me. If I don't believe in you, I will not work for you. I will not work with you.
Finally,
right.
2023.
Yes.
You know, I always joke that every year in Nigeria this election is the make or break the election.
Nigeria will remain. Yeah.
So you have faith that this will be a
certainly.
peaceful
I do
transition.
have faith. I do have faith.
Right.
I do have faith.
That this will be a peaceful transition.
It will be. It will come and go. A new president will be elected, and there will be the governance will continue. You know, it's people will drum up so much noise and create hysteria and all of that. Yet everything will still be in place. Yeah.
Thank you so.
They can. You can't prevent everything, but they are really trying. Now, in the southern Kaduna general area, where we have a bit of banditry, but greater risks of ethnic and religious clashes, we have these operations to Operation Safe Haven, headquartered in Jos. We have a mobile police squadron in Kafanchan. We bought housing estate, 150 million, and gave it to the police so that they can have a mobile police squadron in Kafanchan after the 2016 crisis that affected Kafanchan and 2 other local governments. Since then, Kafanchan has been quiet, since we had a mobile police squadron. We have Nigerian Navy troops in Kachia, in Kujama, in Makali, and we have all this, and troops at Kasua Magani, and special forces, and so on. So, as far as southern Kaduna is concerned, it has been really quiet, other than Zangon Katav local government, where the Katavs and the Fulanis are now at war with each other. Even that, I think, has gone down, and we have Nigerian Air Force Special Forces. Kaduna Airport area had also been attacked once or twice, so there is a continued patrol there and operations there. So that place has been quiet. Kaduna Airport, of course, and NDA are close together. And you all know when the bandits tried to go into NDA and succeeded in even arresting, kidnapping an officer. But they tried recently and they were wiped out because we knew they were coming, so they were ready for them. And I think about 30 of them were killed or something like that. Yeah. Next slide, please. So what we've always said is the way to end this banditry is simultaneous military and ground operations. If we have the Air Force bombing the camps, we know where the camps are. We have the maps. We know everything. We have their phone numbers. We listen to their conversations sometimes. So, but it has to be done across the 5 states and Niger State at the same time. What we've been doing over the years is you go to Zamfara, you chase them out, they move to Sokoto. You go to Sokoto, you chase them out, they move to Kebbi. From Kebbi, they move to Katsina, Kaduna. And they move seamlessly because of the forest ranges. So what needs to be done is, at the same time, bomb the forests, bomb the camps, and have ground troops on the ground as a blocking force, consisting of the army, the police, the Air Force Special Forces, Navy Special Forces on the ground, and just wipe them out once and for all. Of course, that has risks because some of the camps may also contain innocent people that have been kidnapped. But this is war. In war, you always have collateral damage, unfortunately. And if we continue piecemeal approach to this banditry, it will continue to grow because the amount of money these guys are making is so much that they will not stop. I'm convinced of that. Because the average Fulani man makes 200,000, 300,000 when he sells one of his bulls that is too tired. They don't usually sell their cows unless they are totally exhausted. Now, this same person now gets millions from kidnapping. He will never go back to that life. This is why I'm convinced that the only solution is to wipe them all out. Or at least decimate them to a point that it is no longer feasible or profitable for you to think you can be in that business. Because it is a business. That's what it is. So Please go back to the previous slide. So this is what we're working on now. And we've got our vigilance service also armed. And when I say we, I'm not talking about Kaduna State alone. I'm talking about Niger. I'm talking about Kebbi. I'm talking about, all of us. We work together. We are all on the same page that we need to do this. And we're working with the military. We regularly confer with the Chief of Defense Staff, Chief of Army Staff, Chief of the Air Staff, Chief of, IG. We're working on this. So we think that we're at a tipping point that we are going to see the end of this very soon, by the grace of God. Next slide. On the advice of the military, we also, implemented some steps like, shutting down mobile networks for a while. We restrict the use of motorcycles because these bandits use motorcycles for logistics. It is motorcyclists that carry food to them, drugs, and even ammunition. We also suspended weekly markets to cut off food supply to them, and that has been quite effective. And so on and so forth. So all these measures we've been taking to bring an end to this. But in addition to this, next slide, you see some of the soft initiatives. Because like in southern Kaduna, even when we have enough security footprint there, people must choose to live in peace. So you still have to engage in some dialogue and peace building and community, and that's why we established the Kaduna Peace Commission. Plateau also has a peace building agency, but our own Peace Commission has enjoyed international support, Ford Foundation, U.S. Institute of Peace, and so on. In fact, our first executive vice chairman has just been offered a job by the African Union because she has been so good in handling that job that she caught the attention of the African Union. So she's moved to Addis. Bishop Josiah Ido-Ferron, the Secretary General of the Anglican Communion Worldwide based in London, is the chairman. And then we have a group of priests on both sides of the religious divide, Muslims and Christians. They have formed what they call House of Kaduna Family. And they basically engage in peace building and preaching for peaceful coexistence and so on and so forth. We've also enacted a religious preaching law to license preachers, because we believe that most of the problems that were caused in Kaduna State were caused by people that did not go to seminary or did not get proper training to be imams, and they somehow declared themselves prophets or bishops or sheikhs and get on a podium and spew out hatred and all kinds of stuff. The history of Kaduna State shows that. And that's why this law was originally enacted in 1984 by the military regime of Air Commodore Usman Muazu when President Buhari was head of state. That was when it was first enacted, but we looked at it, we passed it through the democratic process and updated the law and also reduced the militariness in it, let me put it that way. And all this have helped in trying to build peace in the state. We've also spent a lot of money on technology. We are the first state to buy drones, UAVs, for surveillance. And that's why when I say we know where these bandits are, we do. We know where they are. We've invested in the technology. We are also doing what we call Safe City project. We are putting TV cameras, CCTV all over Kaduna metropolis so that when crime takes place, we can get your face, we can get the number plate of your car, it's quite, the cameras are really advanced cameras, biometric quality. And they're being, we've finished the first phase done by an American company. The second phase is being done by Huawei. And before the end of this year, by the grace of, by end of May, I think, by the grace of God, Kaduna will be covered. Then we'll move to Zaria and Kafanchan. We are also building a forensic laboratory.
Thank you so much for your patience to watch from the beginning to the end. I hope you have learned something from the video you have just watched. The video you have just watched is to bring information to your doorstep and for educational purpose. It is not to demonize anybody. Let us watch continuously and see who can be able to make a sense out of every nonsense we are seeing. We must continue. We move. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they say. They will kill us. We will kill them. At the end of the day, Biafra is here. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please kindly subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you're notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you and remain blessed. Bye-bye. See you again.